When you say success, I'm warming to this. Success is when somebody survives. I can feel that. That's tangible. There's absolutely no mileage at all in getting up in the morning to be average. I mean, by the nature of the beast, you're losing. There's a whole lot just goes to the keeper. To get up in the morning to be the best you can be is my headset.
Two mates are on a mission to figure out how 10 Aussie icons in completely different fields broke away from the pack. We want to dig deeper, see if anyone can do what they've done, and figure out their common thread. Plastic surgeon Fiona Wood has been crowned Australia's most trusted person 6 years running. In 2002, she was at home with her 6 children when terrorists detonated 2 bombs in a popular tourist district of Bali. Within hours, she was overseeing 4 operating theatres and 130 medical staff to save the lives of 25 gravely injured Aussies, for which she was awarded Australian of the Year. Wood has pioneered a new way of treating burns victims using spray-on skin and is currently the director of the Royal Perth Hospital Burns Unit. With Jerry and the horse auctions behind us, Jack and I were off to the beautiful beaches of Perth. We met with Fiona at the Cottesloe Surf Life Saving Club and were eager to hear from the pioneering doctor, jumping right in.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Hi, Jack.
Oh, hi. Nice to meet you.
A lot of Australians, particularly young Australians, work really hard, but they don't potentially achieve their goals. So do you think it's just a matter of working hard, or are there other ingredients there that...
I learned when I was 15 that I was not going to be an Olympic 400-metre runner because I couldn't run quick enough, funnily enough. So I changed my goal. And I remember really clearly I had been obsessed with being a 400-metre runner. And I changed, I thought, geez, this isn't happening. I'm working really hard here. I'm not good enough. I'd learned how to goal set. And I just went, I quite like maths and physics, chemistry, yeah, here we go. And I went on a different path. So you've got to understand yourself such that you match the work ethic with your optimum potential. And then you start to get traction, I think. And for me, when I went to med school, I was just like, whoa, I was anatomy, surgery. This is what I want to do.
More specifically then, within the field of medicine, have you had goals that you've set yourself?
Yes, absolutely, and I've failed miserably.
Okay, so you haven't achieved most of the goals?
There's only one goal that matters, right? And that's to achieve scarless healing by regeneration. If we understood the triggers why a gecko grows a tail and we don't grow our skin back, anything other than a trivial injury, that's the goal, that's the holy grail.
Born in Yorkshire, England, Fiona went to medical school in London where she met her Western Australian husband. The pair moved to Perth in 1987 with their 2 kids, where Fiona completed her training in plastic surgery between having 4 more children. She became director of the Royal Perth Hospital Burns Unit in 1991 at the age of 33, and shortly after teamed up with the local scientist Marie Stoner to begin their groundbreaking medical research.
There's new hope for burns victims with a treatment developed by Dr. Fiona Wood now becoming widely available. Experts say spray-on skin, as it's known, could eventually replace skin grafts.
As someone who pushes the boundaries, how do you know which of the less travelled paths to take?
I'm an outlier. I always have been. I've never been one for the in crowd, because I think if you need that, you need to learn how to stand up. Stiffen your back and step out that in crowd now and again and feel the breeze on your face. Feel what it's like when you're making your own decisions. Feel what it's like to feel yourself rather than influenced by all that peer pressure and everybody around you and conforming, because that's just a drain.
We quickly learnt that Fiona had little time for conforming. Not one to just treat patients with her own 2 hands, she founded the public company Avita Medical so she could commercialise her pioneering techniques and have a global impact. Royalties from licensing the technology are ploughed back into her research foundation. We wanted to better understand how she balances these varied pursuits.
Is passion just as important as hard work?
You can't, I guess, have passion and go, hey, I just love to do this, and then sit down.
Yeah.
That's just, nobody's going to buy into that. And so I guess you've got to bring something to the table. And what underpins it is work ethic. If you're unhappy doing it, maybe you're in the wrong space. Because I'd work long hours. But I would be the first one through the doors of the operating room because I want to be there. I think I'm so fortunate that I enjoy it. And so that it changes the character of that work. It changes into something that is actually so stimulating that it's not that daily grind. Yeah. So I think I'm very lucky.
How do you avoid the temptation to think that you have to leave it all out on the table and you have to work longer hours?
The analogy, I guess, is around, is this a marathon or is it a sprint? Well, I would suggest it's a very, very long marathon made up of a series of sprints. You know? But if you're repeatedly draining your emotional and physical resources to the expense of everything else in your life, you're not sustainable in that space.
Do you think that you have to be aggressively focused on something to be the best at it?
Do I think I'm an aggressive person? I think underneath, yeah. I know I'm competitive. I know that I sort of soften it, and I'm going in in an aggressive way as a female in the area I'm in, where I'm in a space with a lot of aggressive males. Didn't cut it. Yeah, I thought, oh, that's interesting. And so I know early on I softened my approach. And the words of my mother ringing in my ears, more flies are caught with treacle than with vinegar. And she's right.
It was interesting to see that same competitive streak we saw in Jerry Harvey appear. And like Gay Waterhouse, Fiona, as a female surgeon, has been in the minority in her field. But in October of 2002, her work was about to be instantly shot into the international spotlight. Although tragically 202 people died, including 88 Australians, the largest proportion of survivors from the Bali bombings arrived at Fiona's hospital. She received praise for how she handled the crisis, but she also attracted controversy because some felt spray-on skin had not yet been subjected to enough clinical trials. We wanted to hear how she handled her critics, not just of her professional work, but also those who question her commitment as a mother of 6.
Criticism is a really interesting animal, and there's two kinds in my head. Criticism without engagement, which is negative, destructive, and totally useless. And criticism without engagement, look at her. She neglects her children without any insight, without any comment. What is the point of even acknowledging it? What is the point of giving it any oxygen at all? It's the way I deal with that. I don't hear it. Criticism with engagement in problem solving is the daily bread and butter. You know, well, how could we have done that? What happened there? You know, I'd like to come and join and work out this problem. No problem at all. Very healthy. But I learned very early on that negative energy is a black hole. And if you want to waste yours, go jump in it. So I just absolutely don't engage in that kind of totally useless, one-sided negative criticism. You can't be a surgeon. This is when I learned this. Oh, why is that? You're a woman. And I remember saying, I'm really good at embroidery. Doesn't that help? That's when we soften it a bit. Like, there's two choices. Not him. Or just, I'm really good at embroidery. Leave him just looking at me like I'm an idiot, and I walk on by. I am not wasting energy on you. Your opinion is yours. I don't have to own it. Yeah. So I learned early.
Have you ever been the victim of tall poppy syndrome?
Yeah, and I'm not engaged. Takes two to fight, and I ain't fighting. I just keep working and using my energy in a positive way. I think rather than articulating we're tall poppy syndrome society, we should think, that translates to a society where we've got this human potential that is just dribbling through our fingers. Well, let's see if we can kind of put a name around that and drive that one forward.
We were blown away by Fiona's incredible approach to something that can often hold a lot of Aussies back. She's an optimist who blocks out the naysayers and just gets on with it, bringing others along with her to push new frontiers.
Now, you've said it's important to share the vision, especially with your team in your work. How do you do that? How do you share the vision with people?
You can do all you like on your own, but in the end you'll start spinning your wheels. You need to communicate, and you need to share. And you need to share the good times, the successes, I always said it, yeah, so that people can actually be part of it.
What role do you think luck has played in your career?
Well, you know what they say, the harder you work, the luckier you get. That if you've done the hard yards, you kind of get lucky.
You make your own luck.
Yeah. I'd have doubts of my abilities on a daily basis, but you can doubt yourself in a way that's healthy, so you know you're not going to be blasé in your decision-making.
So how important is it then to make a decision, whether it's right or wrong, and just move on to the next situation?
I think that's an absolute kicker, to be honest. A decision not made can cause so much anguish. You know, you just turn yourself inside out, and you can overthink things. Decisions without any thought at all, clearly, you know, you're going to wear that. There's going to be a bit of egg around the place. But not to make a decision renders you catatonic. And some days you make a decision on Monday, and if you'd made that on Tuesday, it wouldn't be the same. Well, hey, that's just make it again. You know, just work it out. Because the only cards you can deal with is the ones you've got at the time. There's no such thing as a bad decision. I think it's good to make decisions. It's bad not to learn from them. If you make the decision and it's not the right one, at least you've got it off the list and you've learned something. But if you don't make a decision, that's when we see a lot of human capital just drifting.
Going back to those people our age who don't know what they want to do with their career, what advice can you give them?
If you're unhappy, change. You don't have to do the same thing for the next 30 years, but you have to make a decision not to.
Fiona makes decisions every day to save people's lives and push medical research to new heights. Like the others Jack and I sit down with, she's faced prejudice along the way. We were struck by her embroidery response to her male colleague. She just has a great attitude and decides not to engage. All the people we meet prove naysayers wrong and refuse baseless criticism. This approach to prejudice is a common thread.
A little token to your perseverance. We got you a sewing kit.
Thank you very much.
And I hope you find that handy.
Well, making my daughter's wedding dress.
Oh, really?
So thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Fiona Wood, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks very much.